So I want to take a few minutes and talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, as well as the hearts of those who look like me. I just walked up a flight of stairs, so I'm kind of winded. So it is lovely to see people opening up their eyes wider to what has been well in front of them for quite some time. How some groups here in the United States have been oppressed and suppressed for years, right? Decades, centuries. And I know that it is true, the compassion that some of the palm-colored people are showing as they are discovering this history and how long and wide and deep it goes, and how very much so it is a part of, well, actually is the foundation of this country. I appreciate that. We appreciate it. However, there is a level of responsibility that goes along with allyship, because many are expressing how they want to be allies. And the responsibility is to educate yourselves on the history, not just say, oh, wow, it's big, it's wide, it's deep, but to actually educate yourself about it. Because we can't, I'll speak for myself here, I'm not going to educate you. Do not ask me to educate you. Do not ask me to tell you what you need to do, where you need to show up, how you need to organize. Because that just continues to perpetuate the same dynamic that's in place that you're saying you can't believe exists, and that we have been saying forever that we don't want to be a part of. And I hope you can hear me when I say that. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So the reason I'm making this video is because I stumbled upon another video of a woman in her college years. She had a little melanin in her skin. I don't know what her background is, but she was coming to an understanding for the first time about the Jim Crow era and how destructive and racist all of it was, right? And I bring that up to say that some of us, even in these bodies, do not know the entirety of the history because it's so endless. And for that reason, you've got to also put in the work to educate yourself about it, right? Just as we are putting in the work to continue to educate ourselves. In addition to that, the history is long and wide and deep, right? And a lot of us have been educating others for a very long time, for hundreds of years now. Our generations, we have incarnated with this trauma, and a part of that trauma is to teach other people how to treat us. But in that mix has been things like we've been educating other folk, and we've hung up that cape, talking about myself personally several years ago. I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm done explaining my existence to people. When they don't get it, they don't want to get it, right? And so it feels like it was falling on deaf ears. Explaining my hair and the way I talk and the way I look and my nose and my ass and everything about who I am. And that level of criticism and fetishism upon the black body is deeply ingrained in colonialism and racism, right? If you think about and I just said I wasn't going to educate, but here is one piece of history that you can add to your list of things to look up. If you think about Sarji Bartman, died in 1815 over in France, was a black woman from South Africa who was taken over there to be in freak shows because of her body, how it looked, how large certain portions of it was. And not only that, after she spent time on these stages as like the main star of these freak shows, then they took her sexual organs once she died. Her sexual organs, her brain, or I'm sorry, her skull, maybe brain, I'm not sure, and her skeleton, and put it on display in a French museum until 1974. Then Nelson Mandela had to call him and be like, hey, can we get her back now so she can rest in peace in our home country? And you might be thinking, well, what does that have to do with the United States? Where did all the colonizers come from, right? They came over here with that mindset. And I won't even begin to talk about what has been done to black bodies on this soil. So, we can't educate you. But we can have, after you have gone and done some of the research on your own, have in-depth conversation with you about it. But you've got to show not only your, oh my God, I can't believe this has happened moment, but also that you mean what you say, that this is not a fleeting moment for you, that when no one's looking, you don't just go back to not thinking about it, or not being a part of it, or not seeking out the information on your own. So there's that. The other point I want to make, and I do before I say this, say it from a place of love. The thing about this black woman is that I can give a hug, I can tell you I love you, which I love you guys, genuinely mean it in the fiber of my being, while also telling you off. So, do not ask me, do not ask other black people where the Malcolm X's or the Martin Luther King Jr.'s are, what Obama and Kamala are doing right now. Because again, it perpetuates the same dynamic that's in place that we don't want to be a part of. With that is an idea that we are supposed to save you. And we've already done enough work. We fought for everybody in every direction. We built the country. We've been educating folks. You all have to do the work, because on the other side of that, we are wondering where your leaders are. We got Tim Walz waving his very green flags, and we love that. We've got Bernie holding it down, as he has been for quite some time, and we love that. But who else? Add to the list if you know. Please help me out a little bit. So, I think it might be time for you all, for those who have been wondering and asking this question of people down in comments, to Begin to ask it about your own community. Begin to seek out your leaders. Begin to become those leaders. Yeah? Anything else?